G'day brewers. Well, today we're going to answer that age-old question that's been on everyone's lips. The elephant in the room will be addressed, and that is, does beer and honey go together? So to find out, we're going to brew a beer with honey, and as it turns out, there's already a style called a Braggot, in which brewers have been adding honey to their beer to thin it out and increase the alcohol of that beer. So I asked myself, what sort of base style would benefit from adding honey to the grist? What sort of style would want to finish bone dry with fruity esters that would complement the floral bouquet of the honey we're adding? And I settled on saison. So let's go down to the brewery and we'll brew up a saison with some honey added, and we'll give this Braggot thing a go. Our grist is 100% super blend, so 5 kilos I've ground, and we're going to throw that in the mash. So 5 kilos, 100% super blend in this beer. I mentioned in previous videos, the super blend gives a nice malty finish to the beer. It gives a nice body, and I like the mouth feel and head retention that it also gives. So I've just decided to go with 100% super blend, see how that goes in this Braggot. Now we are mashing in at 70 degrees Celsius to give us a thicker beer in the end. My only concern with that is that it's going to give us a cloudier beer. The beer won't be as clear in the end because we're skipping that protein rest, or if you say a protein rest is 50 degrees, we're 20 degrees above that. So we're getting further and further away, which means those proteinases are going to be less and less activated because they get denatured much quicker. So that's my only concern, but I do want a bit of body with this because when we add the honey, that's going to thin things out a little as well. All right, let's get on with it.
right, brewers, we're back with the Braggot. Andy's got it there. He's going to have a taste and review it and let you know what's going on. Take it away.
Yeah, thanks. So again, looking at yours in your slightly lower romantic lighting where
Yeah.
you are, I think it's just showing up a little bit darker than mine. I've got a nice straw color, golden almost color. It's got a lowish head. Obviously, this has been bottled off the keg. So bottled off the keg.
Oh, that one's carbonated in
Bottle
bottle conditioned.
Yeah.
That one,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So, but I mean, it's there. It's a nice white head. Aroma wise, there's a real there's a slight sort of in the direction of kind of it's not Bretty, but it's that sort of there's some of that I don't want to use the word barnyard, but that kind of direction. Do you know what I mean? There's a little bit of that. I don't know whether that's coming from the honey or the yeast. You said it is a Belgian.
It's a Belgian yeast,
style, like the beer is
It's fermented with fermenters BE256.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So,
which is their Abbey strain.
Yeah. So I feel like some of that is coming through. I mean, it's not ultra clear. I mean, if I'm being hypercritical, but I mean, otherwise it looks really nice. It certainly smells. I don't have a great deal of experience with Braggot. From what I understand, you're really looking for a lot of balance, so that the honey side doesn't overwhelm the beer side or vice versa.
Yeah.
But broadly speaking, it does offer a lot of flexibility. I mean, I think we looked earlier, and you can have from very pale to black or brown, or I mean, there's a lot of ranges that is kind of acceptable.
So the inspiration for this one was actually Maddock Brewing on the Gold Coast. They did this Belgian saison thing, and it's a bit of a thing. Like, they get yeast from Belgium, and they get honey from the Belgium embassy as well to make this beer.
Wow.
So it's a Braggot, but it's a honey-based.
In high places.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was. That's the inspiration behind it, I guess, is trying to do something like that. So I really liked that. It was quite nice. I think theirs is up closer to 7.5%, and this one's only 6%. So, yeah.
They certainly do know their Belgian beers down there as well.
Oh,
I've had some excellent beers at Maddock. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, like I say, it's definitely got that sort of. It's an interesting aroma. I mean, I can't remember having had that many. Certainly, there's some Belgian character there, and I know whether it's just because it's made from honey, but there's definitely a sort of a floral character coming through there from that. So
I think
let's have a
it's a
taste.
honey. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, have a taste, really. Well, that you say that. I mean, I as I understand it, I mean, if there's this idea that when you ferment with something like maple syrup or honey, that you should end up with a maple syrup or honey character in the beer. But of course, if it's a highly fermentable sugar, almost all of that character is going to go. It's going to get eaten by the yeast and turn into alcohol, and you won't end up with a maple syrup flavored beer. So clearly, when you put this honey in here, it's mostly fermented out, but are you left with a residual,
It's funny.
different character?
It's funny. Because down at Hip Hop Brewers, I went down there a couple of weeks ago, and they had again a 6%. Well, it was a mead, a sparkling session mead, and so I had to try that, and
Of course.
you realise when it's just that honey, it's really subtle. It doesn't come through. It's not strong. It's this really subtle, floral sort of beverage. And you think about it, then you throw in some malton things. It's going to be subtle, the effect that the honey brings. And that was 6% of sugars that came just from honey. So you're going to get more flavour, and it was still subtle, and it was the only thing in the beer. So I think for what it adds, it is going to be quite subtle. in any beer.
No, I get that. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And as you say, compared to what you get from the malt in a beer, that's obviously brings a lot more flavour and a lot more character, as you say, because it's a lot less fermentable. You know, there's a lot more residual sugar left in the beer, whereas in a mead or a halfway house and a braggot, you're kind of getting that highly fermented honey portion.
Yeah.
You know, look, on the taste, I mean, there is definitely a meaty character there to it. It tastes stronger than a 6% beer, and I think perhaps that's the in your brain, it's just that sort of suggestion of like, well, this is not just beer. There's other stuff going on there as well. So in your mind, you're like, it must be strong. But actually, as you say, if it is only 6%, it tastes more boozy than that, I think. Neither part of it is really overwhelming the other, though, in terms of kind of thinking along, you know, what makes a good braggot. I mean, they are quite well balanced. You can taste beer and you can taste mead. You know, you can taste the honey fermented. I think it's a nice balance of that. Is it something that I would be rushing out to buy, you know, a case of? Probably not. It's not really my cup of tea. But I think in terms of as a product, I think you've pretty well got, you know, you've got very close to the style there as far as I understand it. You know, you've got that nice aroma. There's nothing there that shouldn't be there. There's no flaws, no faults as such that I can pick up on. I think in the main it's that nice combination of the Belgian beer and the honey fermented mead. Yeah, nice. It's not, you know, it's not unpleasant. Yeah. How do you think it stacks up with what you were sort of trying to make?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It's got that light sort of sweet malt presence. It's got that lemon esters from the yeast and that floral from the honey, and just a hint of the floral hops in there as well. I did put a little bit of Styron Goldings in there, late edition, and I think you get a little bit of that sort of floral herbal thing. No,
I think it works really well.
Yeah.
And actually, that's the right kind of hop to put in it as well, isn't it? I mean, you don't want to be hitting it with, you know, a bucket full of Nectaron or something and trying to like you want something that's gonna blend well with the fairly subtle character of it.
Yeah, and I wanted to give it a beer that would allow that honey to shine. I don't know if it's done that, but I wanted to give it a chance. I didn't want to hit it in a triple IPA and you know, it all gets lost. Yeah,
just get covered up by a load of Centennial.
You'd have to ask yourself, what's the point? Because like I said, it does end up being a subtle. Once that honey's fermented, it does end up being a subtle.
It's a nice combination.
Flavor.
I think for someone who sort of is more familiar with drinking mead, it'd be a nice way of having a combination of something that is a lot lower in alcohol. You know, a lot of meads are in double figures, aren't they? And you know, and high.
When we brought that,
so it makes it.
When I brought it to the club meeting, actually, the ladies who were into the mead, they were quite taken with it. They were like, I'd like to make this. Like, so
they'd be much more familiar with it than me. If they're drinking, you know, I mean, mead sometimes almost feels like a liqueur. You know, if it gets quite strong, you know, 16, 18%, it's sort of a sipping drink. You know, whereas if you've got this half and half, and you've got quite a drinkable beer. I mean, it is quite dry in the end because of that high fermentability. So you end up with something that's quite refreshing, and you know, it's pretty easy to drink. Very good.
Sounds like it's growing on you. So if you're into beers that are a little bit different but still light and refreshing, perfect for the Brisbane summer, then check out this video, which goes through my famous goza and how you can make something like this at home.